Well, good morning. It's a Monday morning for all those hardworking people that are out there slaving away. Um, yep. But it is beautiful where I am in Panama. I'm very fortunate to be here. Um, it offers excellent quality of life for people that are getting older, that are thinking about maybe I want to leave where I am or I want to check out other places. You can. At any age, you can. Um, But older people are coming here because you can live here economically, right? And they do offer various visa programs to help you to get here into Panama. Because I think it's incredibly important for older people. And older people, I mean, I have seen younger people that are like older people that are in their 50s that were in long-term care facilities. I mean, that's tragedy. That's pure lifestyle and circumstances that people find themselves in. Poverty will do that. So I think that we need to really look at quality of life as a risk factor for chronic disease, for going to the doctor, for over medicating, for depression, for loneliness, suicidal ideation. And that leads me right into MAID in Canada. And most people, when I speak about it to people from the United States, have never heard of it. I would think that there are people in Canada, if you've not been around the healthcare system, you may not have heard of it either. But it's medical assistance in dying. It's Canada's euthanasia program. And it started back in 2016. And as I stated before, as a nurse, when you saw people really terminal and they were suffering, probably because they were being mismanaged in their treatment, more from a medical point of view than offering comfort and helping people leave this world and go on to another, palliative care. Palliative care now has been hijacked by MAID. So I thought that yes, if a person was imminently dying, maybe it would be better for them to have lethal injection, right? Until I went to see a presentation by the College of Physicians and Surgeons, by the way, that were looking into, because this was just before the law was passed in 2016. And he described a situation that he saw in Belgium, I believe, because there's European countries, some of the Slavic countries have very expanded, just like Canada's is now, euthanasia programs. So he went there and he spoke about a woman who had made a medical directive, because you can now do that. You can do that, I think in Quebec too, they're allowing it, or they're moving towards changing the law. I'm sure they all will, because they're all in lockstep. So this woman had done a medical directive when she was of sound mind, that if she was to become demented, because we have such absolute terror over it, of course, it's your mente, but you want to do preventative stuff so you don't get it, not the other way around, but whatever. So there's this terror about getting it and being a burden and all the different things that are supplanted in your subconscious mind about how you're supposed to feel about that, so that you take a certain behavior pattern, right, that you're going to do something in a particular way. So she did indeed become demented, but she went to long-term care, and this happens all the time. People create new relationships because they're actually a new personality. The old personality, whatever's going on in this receiver system that we have, is breaking down. There's blood flow issue, all kinds of things that cause this. Toxins, poisons. Yes, in the Western countries, especially Canada and US, I'm sure it's the same all across the European countries, maybe not quite so bad, but chronic health problems that lead to dementia. Medications that are routinely given to people, dementia, right? So he likened it kind of like murder, because she had become someone else. She no more wanted to die. That part of her didn't want to die. So he said, what would you do? Pull her away, lead her away, and then lethally inject her and harvest her organs? Because that's what they're doing. That changed my mind on it. And then when it came into being, it was pretty tightly controlled. in 2016. There were only a few people that were making these decisions. Doctors hadn't been, I'm sure, incentivized and basically propagandized to think that there are people that are essential and non-essential. That is mind control language, and it's preparatory to get people prepared to look at people as being, these are essential people, worthy people. We can go back to Hitler's Germany, right? And then these that are non-essential. They're non-essential to life. We don't need them. And older people with dementia would be one of those, right? So then it sort of very quiet. You didn't hear too much about it. It was there. People were speaking about it, but it was a quiet thing. And then, of course, when COVID hit, the COVID trillion-dollar exchange of monetary funds up. Why there's probably 81,000 homeless people in Ontario. So when that hit, they snuck in and they changed the criteria for it, making it far more easy to access. And you didn't have to have a terminal, you didn't have to be of imminent death. And then it has just grown steadily. And there's been articles that have come out, not a lot. You would think that people would look at this and go, holy crap, but it isn't. Humans are adaptable. Give a little bit, change a little bit, change a little bit. It's this slow, steady, the totalitarian tiptoe, actually, right? To move you slowly towards what they have planned. And this is worldwide that this will be. Some countries, like I mentioned euthanasia here, they have no idea what I'm talking about. In Panama, you would do that? Why would you do that? Most older people live with their family, and they're part of it. They don't, they're busy right up until the day they die. It's a whole different headspace, right? So now there are great issues with this medical assistance in dying, that they're actually making huge profits on harvesting organs, because it's a moneymaker worldwide. There are people that will privately pay up to $60,000 to $120,000 for a kidney, because there's so many people with kidney damage. What do you know? One of the leading causes of kidney damage? Medication. Liver and kidney, because those are your filtration systems, and they filtrate out all the toxins that are in you. More toxins, more damage, kidney failure, right? So, you know, we've got great problems with an industry that creates the problem to make the profit off of it, because it's involved in all of it. They all are. It's this group of corporations that are running healthcare, right? It is a business. When you're going through that an emergency room, it is like a high-tech, high-end specialty AI. AI isn't going to be making full-on decisions with your consent about what happens to you when you go in there. Don't go in. Have it for what it is for. If you have an acute emergency, not for chronic health conditions or for mental health problems, you will be medicated. You will be told that the thing is that there's something biologically inferior, and you need this. You don't. It's in here. We're connected. We are a holistic being. Medicine has got to the point where it doesn't even think that there's no soul, no spirit. When you're dead, you're dead. You're just a machine. There's different parts. Everybody's a specialist in different parts. Nobody's a generalist. It is not healthcare. It is a profit-driven business. And something terrible has happened in the administrative level. I saw it, right? Ruthless. Even one of the nurse practitioners, now she would say this around it because she was a part of it, they were making policies, said that they were utterly ruthless because it's profit-driven. So Canada is leading the track with this. And basically, they take those organs when you're alive. These are live organ transplant, like harvesting, right? And then that becomes cause of death. But It's because you've signed on to MAID that they can do this. And when you live in a country that has winter, so Ontario, 81,000 homeless people living on the streets in the wintertime. And I'm going to tell you something about homelessness, because the organization that I used to work with that actually did good work. There was good work out there at one time. They've hijacked a system and just made it a killing system. Yeah, a killing system. There didn't used to be this amount. There was a pull to try to get people into their own housing, right? These people that are now on the streets are people that were one paycheck away from losing where they were going to live, or their mortgage went too high. After the whole thing, this transfer of money from the middle class up here that started in the COVID era. So these are new people to homelessness. And so what I found in this job that I was at, that it becomes a lifestyle of survival, and it's really hard to break. That you will find it hard to house people that have been, what can I say, chronically on the street. Because it becomes like a routine, right? This routine every day that they do to stay alive. And they have, I'm going to tell you something about street people. The vast majority, back then, maybe now, I haven't been around them, but I know what I used to find. That they were a tight group of people that were very conservative in their ideals. Many of the people that you saw were men that were displaced because manufacturing died in where I was, in Ontario, right? Where these guys were working in manufacturing jobs in factories and made good money at one time, right? It was very big. It used to be a hub in Ontario of manufacturing, rail lines, right? Not now. That doesn't exist anymore, right? So they're killing their citizens, right? They're killing them with all these things. All the dots connect because they all lead back to the same thing. So if you're homeless, you go into an emergency department, or let's say that you're an older person that's just making it at home, right? You're able to manage at home, but you're getting not too good on your feet and blah, blah, blah. And you may have some memory issues because you're on 50 million friggin' drugs. And you end up in a hospital, and maybe you can't walk anymore, and you don't really have any money. You can't go to some of these high-end prisons that they have for older people when they can't function, which is long-term care. There's some that are not killing factories, and retirement homes, which are, I could just imagine, because I used to go in and teach dance classes in some of these retirement homes. They look pretty, but they're soulless, and they were all locked in during COVID. Do you know what that does? Well, no, nobody wants to listen to that, right? So MAID is going on. So the person that is thinking that they're going to be reliant on the system to help you, if you can't manage anymore, that very system will be sending people around to your room asking you, do you want MAID? And the thing with human beings, how easily we're programmed, we are, right? That all you have to do is have somebody that's an authority figure. We put on a white coat, people believe it's an authority figure, right? Be in a weakened state where you're with a herd, because when you're weakened, we are that way. That is part of our autonomic nervous system, to go with the herd. And you repeat it often and enough to somebody, they believe that that's what the herd will do and that it's the right thing to do. Even if maybe in their heart that's not one, right? But it's been subconsciously programmed. It's also being normalized in the media. How people are not outraged by this shows the level of people just working like an automaton and not really looking at what's going on around them, or thinking that these establishments actually are there for their benefit. Maybe they were at one time. I'm sure they were. But they're not now. None of them are. None of them are there for you. So if you don't take care of your health, I'm telling you, you can be healthy at any age. Any age. I've seen it with my own eyes. People that were in their 80s, their 90s. Do you know what it was that allowed them to get to those ages and in good conditions. Number one, they moved their body every day. They ate well. They didn't eat bullshit. They didn't eat stuff that's highly processed. They knew how to cook. And you can cook simply. There's simple things you can do. You've just never been taught, right? The same thing with those Meals on Wheels shit. That shit'll kill you too, right? Hire somebody. If you've got a bit of money for that, why don't you hire somebody to come in and cook your meals for you, right? Good meals. And never sit down all day long. That's the worst thing that you can do, is to sit on your butt all day and not move. Especially as you get older, it compresses everything. The way that the blood moves through your body is by movement. We are meant to move. I don't care how old you are, get up and move. Walk around. Every half hour, get up out of the chair and walk around, right? Engage your mind. Do something that you haven't done before. Challenge yourself. It is challenge that grows new neurons in your brain. It's uncomfortable, but it feels good when you learn a new skill, right? Because what's going to happen, if you go in there, they're going to start coming around you. They look at it like I know, because I was like in this leadership position in the emergency department. I would go to the meetings, the bed meetings, when hospitals were deciding about beds. You just don't understand how they view you. It's not that these people are bad. That's not what I'm saying. They have been propagandized and mind controlled into believing there are essential people that deserve services and people that don't. Right? They don't get personal. They really don't want to hear your story. I heard your story. Right? So at any age, go online, look for videos of older people. There's all kinds of older people that lift weights, do good, eat well. Stand up for the generations that are coming. Behave responsibly, like adults, right? And try to contribute something good to this world. And don't rely on these establishments that aren't what they are. That's how fascism, communism comes into play. They by stealth come into your organizations and they flip them into something else. Technocratic totalitarianism, transhumanism. And they're offing people. This is medical murder. And they're making money off the harvesting of organs. And we do not understand what happens to people when we paralyze them and then poison them to death. It does not happen. What we are known to believe is not true. One last thing about hospitals. Why don't more people talk about this? Because you sign an agreement that you will never speak. It's like getting into the mob. Really, it is. You have to sign. They can come after you from talking about what happens at hospitals. This whole fear about flus and shit like this, all they've done is take a normally occurring occurrence that happens every year. For whatever reason, the body is shedding, doing something, right? And done fear porn on. Because when you're in fear, this fight or flight response, the thinking part of your brain isn't working. And it makes it easy for you to manipulate. Just like when you're weak. When you're in a hospital and you're unwell, and you have people coming around asking you if you want MAID, and they're going to sell it real sexy and real nice. It isn't. That is not the way that human beings are meant to die. We are meant to die with somebody to care for us, with compassion and kindness, and ease any suffering, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, so that the person can pass to the next, wherever they're going, the consciousness. Because we are consciousness. And that, what they're doing, in my mind, is evil. And it is no different than Germany. So there's my message. Stay healthy. You can do it at any age. Look at the poisons in your life. Get to know. Go to alternative media and listen to different things. Or go to the newearthnurse.com, or .net, I should say. For blogs and stuff like that. I'm going to do a bigger one on MAID and different things to stay healthy, because it doesn't have to be that way, but you need to understand the system, right, so that you don't end up there. Okay, have a good day. Stop. We're not boomers, millennials, or anything like that. We all working together. We're just humans, you know, trying to have a life down here on planet mind control.